Hey guys, this is Hunter with You Don't Know Ball. Today we're going to be looking at Dane Brugler's mock draft 2.0. It dropped earlier this morning. This is a blind reaction. I have not seen any of the picks yet. I saw him tweet earlier that there was a lot of trades in it, so I'm interested to see. As always, if you don't know ball and want to know ball, be sure to subscribe, leave a like. Let me know in the comments your favorite and least favorite pick from this mock draft. So he says, after a week of the NFL scouting combine, we are left with information overload. The next step is scrubbing the testing data, workout notes, and late night rumors to figure out how it'll affect the NFL picks on draft night. Trade shake up the first round every year, and 2024 won't be an exception. For this mock draft, I want to include 7 realistic trades, several of them in the top 10, which would create a domino effect for the rest of the first round. With a little less than 2 months until the draft, there's still plenty that will change. So with number 1 overall, we have the Bears taking Caleb Williams. Now, this is kind of the standard pick at this point. Breer and Eisen have both said that it's pretty much a lock. Brugler says, while this isn't a done deal, I didn't talk to anyone at the Combine who believes this won't happen. An intriguing scenario would be if the Commanders try to make a move up to number 1. So it's looking like the Bears were kind of waiting to see the person in Caleb Williams, and that was kind of everything that Poles, their GM, had talked about. And the way Caleb conducted himself at the Combine, I think, really struck a chord with them. So I would be surprised if Caleb Williams is not a Bear come the end of April. At number 2, we have the Washington Commanders taking Drake May. I think this makes the most amount of sense if you're going to go rookie QB. You want a guy that's a little bit younger and you can develop, while you could take Jaden Daniels, but at the same time, you don't know how he's going to perform in an offense with not a ton of weapons. Not to say that, they're devoid of talent in Washington. I just think you want to be able to develop your own guy, and I think Cliff Kingsbury would much rather probably work with Drake May than Jaden Daniels. At number 3, we have the Atlanta Falcons taking Jaden Daniels with a trade up from New England. So this is the first of the 7 trades. So the projected trade is the Falcons send number 8, number 43, and a 2025 first-round pick to the Patriots for number 3. This makes a lot of sense for the Falcons, who, if they don't get Jaden Daniels or they don't get Kirk Cousins in free agency, and they don't want to hope and pray that they can trade up for JJ McCarthy or whatever they want to do, I think this is the best route for them, unless they want to trade up all the way to 2 to Drake May, which I don't know if the Commanders are willing to do. So he says, after years in salary cap hell, would the Falcons be open to throwing a massive check at Kirk Cousins? Many in the league believe so, which speaks to Atlanta's craving to upgrade at quarterback. But if Cousins would like to stay in Minnesota, the Falcons trading up to 3 feels like the next likeliest option. Makes sense. I get it. He said owner Arthur Blank once signed off on a trade that surrendered a massive haul of draft picks to jump and get wide receiver Julio Jones, and looked how that worked out for him. So not a bad pick if Atlanta is looking for an upgrade at quarterback play, which it very obviously seems they are if you just listen to Raheem Morris's comments. At number 4, we have the Arizona Cardinals taking Marvin Harrison Jr. Honestly, if Marvin Harrison Jr. falls into your lap at 4, there's really not much you can do outside of the fact that if a team wants to give you a haul to move up for JJ McCarthy, it is very, very realistic that, yes, Marvin Harrison Jr. is touted as this generational type guy, but there are some people who have Malik Neighbors on their boards higher, some teams. So my thing is this: if there are teams that see Neighbors and are like, he might be better, is Marvin Harrison Jr. truly that generational that you're gonna that you would take him over maybe a first-round pick next year, a second this year, and maybe a third next year? Personally, I don't know if it's worth it for the Cardinals, but if you're looking for more of a rebuild aspect, that's definitely something to consider. Not much to discuss here. Marvin Harrison Jr. is Marvin Harrison Jr. At number 5, we have the Chicago Bears trading up with the Los Angeles Chargers for Rome Odunze. So I have personally been getting the feeling, especially after the trade last night for Ryan Bates, which sent him a 5th-round pick, and we only have 5 picks left this draft, is that the Bears are probably going to be trading back from number 9 to get more assets. And I know they're going to get a couple things from the Fields trades. It's probably not much, but the Bears trade number 9, 75, and a 2025 4th rounder for number 5. So Interesting that you go Rome here over Neighbors. I will say this, though. I don't think any of the wide receivers are probably going to be there at 9 if the Bears want to stick there, any of the top 3. And I think the reason they go Rome here, so let's read what he has to say, and then I'll give you my opinion. For the Bears, fortune favors the bold. None of the top 3 receivers are falling to number 9, and this is relatively low price to pay for an impact pass catcher who will help win games for day one. Only GM Ryan Poles knows which receiver he would prefer in this scenario, but a popular theory to emerge from the combine was that the Bears Odunze pairing might be the best fit in the draft. So Odunze, DJ Moore, Caleb Williams, Cole Kmet makes a lot of sense. You sign a wide receiver 3 in free agency. I like it. Also, if you look at how Odunze conducted himself at the combine, he just screams Bear. Like, that is someone the McCaskies would fall in love with. So Rome Odunze to Chicago Bears at number 5. Very interesting. At number 6, we have Malik Neighbors to the New York Giants. Honestly, I've been hearing a lot of stuff about Daniel Jones, like that they're very out on him, which is not what they were talking about a couple weeks ago. And I think even though J.J. McCarthy's on the board here, I just don't know. I don't know what they do. I mean, you take the best receiver on the board here in Malik Neighbors, and I think that is the correct route to go. But at the end of the day, who's going to be throwing him the ball? Because, yeah, you have Daniel Jones. I mean, I get you need a playmaker. The offense needs a playmaker. And you really hope Evan Neal can pan out. Because if you look at it right here, we're at the point where we're at pick 6 and Joe Alt still hasn't went, which is very realistic. But at the end of the day, I like this pick for the Giants. It's just more of like a roster construction question. Like, what are the Giants going to do at quarterback if they're not going to take J.J. McCarthy here? At number 7, we have the Minnesota Vikings trading up with Tennessee. They said number 11, number 109, and a 2025 second rounder for the Titans, number 7. Honestly, makes a lot of sense here for the Vikings to move up ahead of, the Patriots, who possibly could have gotten McCarthy at 8, even though I don't think that's probably the route that they would have went. But they go McCarthy, and so this is based on the scenario that Kirk Cousins does come back to Minnesota. And if Kirk Cousins does come back to Minnesota, I think the J.J. McCarthy pick makes a lot of sense because you don't have to play J.J. the first year. And I think if JJ is thrown into a position where he has to play the first year, you are not going to get the same amount of success as you would get if you sat him for a year or two. And the whole point of having him under team control for 5 years on a first round rookie contract is you have that 5 years and you have the flexibility with Kirk Cousins where you play in the first year, you play Kirk the second year, and then you kind of maybe throw in McCarthy at the end of the year, depending on how your season's going. But I think this pick makes a lot of sense. I think J.J. McCarthy would work very well with Kevin O'Connell. At number 8, we have the New England Patriots taking Joe Alt. I mean, come on. If Joe Alt's sitting here at 8 and you got that, you have an extra first rounder next year, you could so he says Patriots have an obvious need a quarterback, but they have a ton of needs in general. I agree. Elliott Wolf wants to stockpile draft picks. Not only would the Patriots add a haul for draft capital and trade back, but in this scenario, they're still getting a really talented prospect. Okay. New England doesn't address its quarterback need for the first round here, but let's say the Patriots trade a third rounder to the Bears for Justin Fields. I don't really think that would work for them, but if they want to give us a third rounder, hey, it looks like the market's not that good, so I'd take it. So yeah, great way to start your rebuild is getting a basically insanely high floor tackle with a very high ceiling, Joe Alt. At number 9, we have the Los Angeles Chargers taking Talisa Fuaga. This is a very interesting pick to me, just because it's like the fall Olu has had, like, from what I was understanding is there was a lot of talk originally with Fuaga if he could play tackle, if he would be a guard in the league, and that talk shifted from Fuaga to J.C. Latham at the combine, believe it or not. So I think the Chargers are going to go tackle in the first round, especially with the way Harbaugh builds his teams. And, I know you guys want Brock Bowers. I think that would be a great pick as well. But Talise Fuaga is going to be great in the run game for them, and that is what Harbaugh teams are all about, establishing the run. At number 10, we have the New York Jets taking Olu Fashanu. Now, this is a great spot for him because I know the Jets want to run the ball, obviously, with Breece Hall, but when you have Aaron Rodgers and you're going to want to throw the ball a lot, Olu Fashanu probably one of the best pass protectors in the class. He does need help with his run game, but overall, Ofushanu is a very, very good prospect. His floor might be a little bit lower than the other guys, but overall, he is a very good tackle prospect, and the Jets desperately need O-line help. At number 11, we have the Tennessee Titans, who traded with the Minnesota Vikings, and they are going to be taking J.C. Latham. So I like J.C. Latham a lot, and I have no issue with him going within the top 15 because I just think like he is a very high floor guy. When watching his tape, he was so patient, and I just he's huge. He's huge. He's very strong and he's huge, and he moves decently well. So I just have a hard time finding how he like doesn't translate to the NFL. And if the Tennessee Titans want to trade back, get draft capital, which they did, and put a starting, I believe Latham is a right tackle. Then you have Skronsky at, I believe, left guard. You are really starting to build the foundation of that O-line, which in any rebuild, that's what you need to focus on. At number 12, we have the Denver Broncos taking Brock Bowers. Interesting. So, talking with team sources at the Combine about Bowers, they were effusive in their praise for Georgia tight end, but they all agreed his landing spot in the first round was tough to peg. One scout suggested the Broncos is a dark horse possibility, which makes sense since Denver wants to add more impact players on offense. As for quarterback, it's tough to figure out exactly what the Broncos' plan will be. As they literally just released Russ, they won't be able to get any of the top 4 quarterbacks in this scenario. So something I heard about Brock is that he interviewed like pretty poorly, and someone put a spin on it. It's like he might be interviewing poorly, so he falls to one of the later teams, aka Bengals, or probably not the Bills. They just took Kincaid, but you know what I'm saying? Falling to a better team where he'll have success earlier on, which honestly not the worst idea. At number 13, we have the Las Vegas Raiders taking Quinyon Mitchell. Makes a lot of sense. I mean, I think the CB1 train for Quinyon Mitchell has been pretty hot as of late, and I don't see an issue with it. Mitchell put up great numbers. He's a very fast physical corner, 4.33 at the Combine, and he is really good in man. So he says no defensive players in the top 12. The first defensive player selected is a MAC prospect. Neither outcome is crazy. Mitchell checks every box on tape, which I agree with. So Raiders get themselves a CB1. At number 14, we have the New Orleans Saints taking Dallas Turner. I think you go trenches, whether that's offensive or defensive. And at the end of the day, they really need to start rebuilding that defensive line too. Cam Jordan's getting a little bit older. And I also, with the way that board has fell with the tackles, it really doesn't feel like there's a sweet spot for a tackle here. Maybe if you wanted to trade back, there was somebody you'd get, but overall, not a bad pick. Dallas Turner is a freak athletically and looked like a stud at the Combine outside of his already impressive tape. At number 15, we have the Indianapolis Colts taking Brian Thomas Jr. You want to know what's crazy? You want to know what's so crazy about this pick? I just had them taking Brian Thomas Jr. in the mock draft video I did earlier today. So go check that out. Mock Draft Madness Day 4. But yeah, no, I think he would be a perfect complement next to Michael Pittman Jr. and Josh Downs. Give Anthony Richardson another weapon to throw to. 4.33 40-yard dash. He's 6'3", 209 pounds. Like I said, excuse my voice a little bit. I'm getting over being sick. So he says, although the Colts have made it clear that Michael Pittman isn't going anywhere, they'll be looking to upgrade on the outside for quarterback Anthony Richardson. Yeah, premier athlete, great year at LSU, amazing addition for the Colts if they don't go corner here. At number 16, we have the Pittsburgh Steelers trading up from pick 20. So the Steelers send 20 and number 84 to the Seahawks for number 16 and number 151. Not a bad trade here. The Pittsburgh Steelers are going to be selecting Amarius Mims. I like this pick a lot here. Put him on the other side of Broderick Jones. You can kind of use the same process that you use for Broderick Jones, where you don't play him right away. You kind of let him sit a little bit, put him in there. Mims is still really raw. You got to mold him a little bit, but he is a crazy athlete. So he was 6'8", 340 pounds, 36-inch arms, which is really long. And I believe he had a 4.33 shuttle, but I remember seeing a tweet from Dane saying that it was error. Anyway, it's still really fast. So get a super athletic tackle. You have 2 tackles now that are really young and developing. Great pick for the Steelers. At number 17, we have the Philadelphia Eagles trading up with the Jacksonville Jaguars. The Eagles were 22, I believe. So Eagles sent pick number 22, 97, and 2025 fourth-round pick to the Jaguars for 17. It's kind of a lot to move up 5 spots. There's a lot of corners there. But they get one of the better corners in the draft in Terrion Arnold, and I think that works really, really well for what they're trying to do here because the Eagles need youth in the cornerback room. They need first-round talent in that cornerback room. I know there's some Eagles fans convinced that they have like a good corner room, and I'm not saying they don't have depth, but show me the number one guy. Slay and Bradbury are getting older. Like, you need a young guy who can really be that alpha corner, and Terrion Arnold can do that. He's only a sophomore. Like, he is young. He got better every game, and I think it is a great guy to have, and he does have that dog mentality that, you know, Philly typically likes. At number 18, we have the Cincinnati Bengals taking Byron Murphy. I like this pick a lot. So I could see them going right tackle here, kind of, or not even right tackle, just tackle in general, which would be right tackle because you have Orlando Brown Jr. But he says right tackle feels like the most likely option for the Bengals, but as happened here with 5 OTs off the board earlier, what happens if their target options get wiped out, I think the focus then would shift to defensive tackle, and Murphy would be a great fit. Honestly, if you get IDL 1 at 18 and you add that to an already good defense with the Cincinnati Bengals, I'd be a little bit nervous next year, Chiefs. Not going to lie. This is the team that can beat you, and if they're adding talent like Byron Murphy, that just makes it all harder for Pat Mahomes. At number 19, shouldn't have done that. At number 19 for the Los Angeles Rams, we have Jared Verse. Makes a lot of sense. 2 years ago, it says after missing out on a trade for Brian Burns, which the Panthers may be letting walk. I think they might tag and trade. I don't know. They could have had 2 firsts from the Rams. The Rams could turn to a different former Seminoles pass rusher. Verse is a power-based defender who competes with energy and would make an easy sell in the Rams war room. Yeah, I agree. I mean, Jared Verse is a power rusher, but he's also extremely fast. And I think putting him next to Aaron Donald for however long he's going to be there is a recipe for success. At number 20, we have the Seattle Seahawks. They traded down with the Pittsburgh Steelers, taking Jackson Powers-Johnson. Jackson Powers-Johnson is the number 1 interior lineman in the draft. And I could also see them personally taking JPJ at 16. So the fact that they got draft capital and were able to move back to 20 and still get their guy makes the most sense. I mean, Seattle, they most likely have their tackles. It's the interior that they need to get fixed up, and that's exactly what they do here. So we have the Miami Dolphins at 21 taking Troy Fautanu. Fautanu, I believe it's pronounced, actually. He is talented and well-liked around the league, Dane says, but he lands at 21 in this scenario, and the Dolphins will be mad at that. So Fautanu can play tackle, but he can also play interior, and I think with the way that the Dolphins line has functioned with kind of those injuries, to Teron Armstead and the interior line not being the strongest, you get a guy who can play basically 4 or 5 positions, and he can be an interior guy immediately. If Teron Armstead gets hurt, he can kick out to the left. Don't think that's a bad idea. At number 22, we have the Jacksonville Jaguars taking Nate Wiggins. So Wiggins ran a 4.28 40-yard dash. He is really small. I think he's like 173 pounds. But if he's able to put on some weight, he can be a good corner in the league. I mean, like, the issue is what he says here is with the way Emmanuel Forbes got bullied last year, and I don't know why the Commanders took him that early. That was really, really crazy, especially with Christian Gonzalez on the board. If you are able to move back and get Nate Wiggins, like Dane is saying, I don't think you can really complain about the value you're getting there. At number 23, we have the Houston Texans taking Laiatu Latu from Cleveland. The pick is from Cleveland, from UCLA. I think this is an interesting pick because if you want to put him on the other side of Will Anderson, I guess this is assuming Jonathan Grenard is gone. He says Texans general manager Nick Cassero has been comfortable rolling the dice on medical risks in the past, and they value tape over testing when it comes to draft picks. That's exactly what Latu is. Latu has shown it on the tape, and he has been a dominant edge rusher at UCLA. Great pick for the Texans, continuing to build that defense. At number 24 to the Bills, they have them trading up with Dallas, so the Bills instead number 28, number 99 to the Cowboys for number 24 and number 203. A.D. Mitchell, he said, I'm not 100% sold on Mitchell being a culture fit for Buffalo. He wants super competitive players, and Mitchell has shown flashes of that with the talent, but his interviews will determine everything. Bean, he's saying, has never been shy about training up for a player he thinks can be a difference maker, which is true, and they have a lot of picks this year, and from my understanding, because the draft is not super deep, like there's a lot of they have a lot of picks from rounds 5 to 7, so I'm thinking they're probably going to bundle a couple of those picks and try to move up when they can, because at the end of the day, I think the draft after the 5th round isn't very good, and a lot of teams are going to be trying to get out of that. And adding A.D. Mitchell, who is a very fast, he's 6'2" something, putting him next to Stephon Diggs is nice. The thing with A.D. Mitchell is he just doesn't have the motor sometimes. Like, sometimes you can just see he doesn't give 100%, but he's still super talented. At number 25, we have the Green Bay Packers taking Cooper DeJean. Honestly, I think this pick makes so much sense. They need DB help. They need safety help. They need cornerback help. They need safety help. And Cooper DeJean can play both. He just seems like such a Packers player, and he's super athletic. He would fit right into that defense. I love this pick for the Packers. At number 26, we have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers taking Graham Barton. He is a tackle from Duke, but he can play any interior O-line position, which I think is very important for the Bucs, because I think they have their left tackle and they have their right tackle. Ryan Jensen retired, their center, and they need some help in the interior. And Graham Barton is probably one of the safest picks in the draft, so great pick here for Tampa Bay. At number 27, we have the Arizona Cardinals taking Darius Robinson. So the Cardinals want to address edge rusher and defensive tackle this offseason, and Robinson can help in both areas. Arizona coach Jonathan Gannon would really appreciate Robinson's versatility and violence. I mean, yeah, if you want a guy that can play the interior, if you want a guy that can play the edge, Darius Robinson's going to be that guy. Dennis Gardeck is not going to be your franchise pass rusher. So you get a guy who can play wherever you want him to on the defensive line. At number 28, the Dallas Cowboys are taking Tyler Guyton, the offensive tackle from Oklahoma. The Dallas Cowboys here are taking a home run swing, and I don't blame them. Guyton is a huge tackle prospect, just very raw and could use some molding, but I think, obviously, Tyron Smith is gone and out of there. He's not going to be there, and I believe Biadasz, their center, is gone as well. They worked Tyler Smith from Tulsa last year, has moved in and been a really good player for them. So I think Tyler Guyton can do the same. At number 29, we have the Detroit Lions taking Chop Robinson. I like this player a lot. I like this pick a lot, I should say. Chop looked incredible at the combine, and he had some really good tape. The issue with him is he's still kind of raw, and he's got to get a little bit deeper of a bag. So he goes, this pick came down to Johnny Newton or Robinson. I think Newton might be the better fit, but the Lions also want to get more explosive on the edges. They do have a Lee McNeil, and I don't love the other side of Aiden Hutchinson. So if you have Chop, Aleem McNeil, Aiden Hutchinson, I could see why Johnny Newton would probably be the better fit here. But I think if you want an explosive pass rusher, you're getting that exactly with Chop Robinson. At number 30, we're going to have the Carolina Panthers trading up a couple spots with the Baltimore Ravens to select Ladd McConkey. The Panthers send number 33, 141 to the Ravens for number 30. So Ladd McConkey, I think, could be a great receiver for the Carolina Panthers. I like him a lot. He looked so smooth at the combine. He has great hands. The only issue, he's a little bit small and he's had some injury issues, but if he can stay healthy and be a reliable target for Bryce Young, this is a really good pick for the Carolina Panthers, who don't have a first-round pick. At number 31, we have the San Francisco 49ers taking Jordan Morgan, who is a tackle. I think with Colton McKivitz kind of, they want to upgrade on the right side, and then you have, Trent Williams, who's getting older on the left side. Jordan Morgan is a very solid option for the 49ers, and I think they're going to go O-line help and probably the best player available. At number 32, we have the Kansas City Chiefs taking Xavier Worthy. After he ran that 4.21, it was just kind of like, the Chiefs, he's probably a second-round pick, but if the Chiefs take him in the first, I understand it completely. So Xavier Worthy to the Chiefs makes a lot of sense. Maybe seeing if they can replicate what they had in Tyreek Hill. I know the defenses take the top off now, but Xavier Worthy may be able to be a lethal weapon for the Kansas City Chiefs. So these are teams without first-round picks, just two. We got the Baltimore Ravens, who traded back with the Carolina Panthers. Kingsley Suamataia, who is actually cousins with Penei Sewell and Noah Sewell. So he is a very athletic tackle. I don't believe he's as big as Penei, but the Morgan Moses and Ronnie Stanley are kind of getting older. They have their injury issues, and the Baltimore Ravens need to get younger at the tackle position. And taking the swing on Kingsley in, the start of the second round is not a bad pick at all. At number 54, we have the Cleveland Browns taking Ricky Pearsall. Honestly, Ricky Pearsall, if the Bears have a late round, if they have a second or third round wide receiver pick, it has to be Ricky. I love Ricky Pearsall. He's so athletic. He's so good. He's so smooth. I think this would be a home run pick for the Cleveland Browns at 54. Put him next to Amari Cooper, and you're starting to cook. So this has been Dane Brugler's mock draft 2.0. He's with the Athletic. Dane is amazing at doing college scouting and prospect stuff. I listen to him whenever I can. I would recommend it too. If you don't have the Athletic subscription, I'd recommend going and getting an Athletic subscription. Thank you guys so much for watching. As always, if you don't know ball and want to know ball, be sure to subscribe. Leave a like. Let me know in the comments your favorite and least favorite pick from this mock draft. We're growing this channel every day. Thanks to you guys. Appreciate you watching. Have a great rest of your day.